Does your son or daughter with ADHD struggle during unstructured time in the summer? Do you tend to get pulled into the argument or negotiation vortex around things like screen time? Do you find that their behavior just gets worse overall the more they're on screens and the less structure they have? So stay tuned. I'm going to give you my tips for a successful summer with your elementary or middle schooler with ADHD. Hi, I'm Ryan, ADHD dude. When my son was younger, I dreaded that time between when school ended and camp started because he always struggled with unstructured time. So like many of your kids, he didn't handle boredom well, and the longer he was on video games, the worse his behavior was. He needed more structure in his day, and I have the saying, when elementary or middle school age kids with ADHD are struggling with behavior during unstructured times, they are what I call screaming for scaffolding, meaning we have to implement more structure around them to help them regulate themselves better and improve their behavior. In the case of my son, what made things better are when I created scaffolding, gave him some autonomy, and limited his options. Kids with ADHD don't do well with ambiguity. They can be most successful when they have clear structure, expectations, and know what's coming up. When you say things like, go find something to do, that's vague. When you don't have a semi-structured schedule at home, it causes boredom, which then causes behavior problems. When kids with ADHD aren't made to feel useful at home, that contributes to poor behavior as well, particularly during unstructured times. So, here are my tips for a successful summer with your elementary or middle schooler, and please know that these strategies are covered more comprehensively in Executive Function Crash Course for Parents webinar series, which is part of the ADHD Dude membership site. Okay, first thing. It's important to introduce the concept of creating structure for the summer. Give your son or daughter some advance notice that they are going to have more structure and also more expectations this summer. I suggest about 5 days, and you can briefly mention it once a day to remind them. This way they will anticipate the change coming. Next thing, explain what their expectations are going to be for the summer. These should include reading time, chores, outdoor time or exercise, limited screen time, and time allotted for a new activity, ideally one that you can do together as a family. Come up with a schedule where the times are shown in colors. This is really important because the way we learn to conceptualize time is in unit volume. So when kids look at this, it makes time more concrete because it's showing them time in unit volume. Now, you're creating the structure, but allow them to have some input as well so they feel a sense of ownership in this process. Here's an example of what that would sound like. You can decide if you want to do your reading in the morning or afternoon. Be very clear about when screen time or device time is allowed or not allowed. Next, have daily expectations of contributing to helping around the house. I see too many families of kids with ADHD where high giving, low expectations is the norm, and that's a major contributor to poor behavior at home. Kids with ADHD need to feel useful at home even if they don't like chores. It gives them a sense of purpose, and it teaches them reciprocity in relationships as well. Next one, and this one's really important, incentivize getting through non-preferred tasks like chores, summer reading, or summer schoolwork. I teach a strategy for this in webinar 4 of Executive Function Crash Course for Parents, and the strategy I teach actually helps build resiliency to persevere through those non-preferred tasks, which can become really non-preferred tasks in the summertime. The other part of this that you can explain to them that I teach kids is you never know what you're going to like, and you're never going to know what you're good at unless you try different things. Too often I see parents of kids with ADHD accommodate their inflexibility, and please know that if you accommodate your child's inflexibility, their inflexibility will become more severe over time. This one I saved for last because it's so important. Allow ample time for physical activities and outdoor time. That is so important for kids with ADHD to have physical activity. It helps them regulate themselves better. And also note that the way kids develop social skills and executive function skills naturally is through unstructured play or hanging out where adults are not directing things. Now, you might say, well, my kid always gets into trouble when they have that. I understand that, but you can't always hover over them because they're never going to develop those skills if you're always acting as their executive functioning. If you implement these tips, it will make for a more successful summer and hopefully a more stress-free summer for you. So stay tuned right now for another video so you can be empowered with strategies to help your son or daughter with ADHD reach their full potential. I'll talk to you soon.